24 NFL Draft.
There we go.
The Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze.
Yes!
Wide receiver, Washington.
There you go.
12-year-old Danny Parkins right there.
Man, all the years that I've worked with Danny, seeing him on the stump for Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell for that pick when the Lions were talking about what to do, all the years you have wanted a true number one wide receiver to be prioritized by a modern NFL team in the Bears.
How about them? How about them being on the same plane? Now, was that kind of a God sent? Is
that's pretty cool.
Is that something? I mean, think about that. What's the
my God.
They've known that it was a possibility, played against each other, really like each other, and are now ready. And I do think this is going to be the best wide receiver room in the NFL.
This is welcome to modern football, Chicago.
Agreed.
We finally have a GM who gets it. The point is to put the ball in the end zone. The defense wins championships. Okay, great. It's a thing of the past. It still matters, but you want to have a dynasty, you need to have a great quarterback. You want a great quarterback, you need to surround him with great weapons. Keenan Allen will not be here for that long. Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams lined up on the same rookie contract timeline to hopefully form a dynamic 1-2. Yes, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow type of tandem for the next 8 years is a remarkable thing. This is a premium talent at a premium position on the offensive side of the ball. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
We have Rome Odunze talking about his Bears fan connections. Here's Rome.
Me watching this Devin Hester highlight, dude was going crazy, and I would watch that highlight probably over 1,000 times. And I was just so fascinated with it. My family wasn't watching football every Sunday. That's not really how we were. I don't even know what kind of drew me to that. At that age, I didn't know that my pops played football growing up, in high school either. So it was just I don't know. I guess something was in me that I just was kind of drawn to the sport. And he really inspired that, Devin Hester, in me, just because, when you turn on his tape, it's boy, that Lil Wayne on the track, I was oh boy, I got to do some of that.
First NFL jersey, Brian Urlacher, my auntie gave it to me, I think when I came out here to see the Chicago Air Show.
I have come to reclaim Rome for my people!
What a perfect night. This is so great.
His first NFL jersey. Pat Mannelly, Rome's first NFL jersey was a Brian Urlacher, inspired by watching Devin Hester. How does that sound?
It's great. I mean, he's got a little Chicago Bear in him already, which is exciting. This is just, Danny, it was fun just to watch you react that way because I'm excited too. I mean, they're finally investing in the offense. That never happened when I was there. For almost 16, they never invested in the offense. This is fun, and you're right. The NFL has changed. I'm excited to see what these young guys can do. And now you have, talking to coach here as the defensive coordinator, head coach, how do you plan for this attack of those three wide receivers and DeAndre Swift? That's going to be a nightmare. That's a hard week of work, isn't it, Coach?
Yeah, it makes DeAndre Swift's job a little easier. Yeah. I mean, really.
It makes Caleb Williams' job easier. Yes. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm. They are now delivering a nest to Caleb Williams that includes two veteran wide receivers who just went over 1,000 yards and a top 10 wide receiver pick who a lot of people think is the next A.J. Brown, a Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift, and a really good defense and a capable offensive line. Coach, this has got to be – Matt Eberflus has got to be thrilled with this full assortment that he now has on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. I mean, I go back to this, and I know Danny's giddy, and he should be giddy, but I look at this like it was the best player on the board. This guy was a legitimate top 10 player, and they took him. I mean, there was otherwise you're getting into trades and you're moving down, and you don't know who's going to be available and all that stuff. So they made a good decision, and I'm not going to go over the top as far as Danny is, but
who is, Coach?
Yes,
but hold on a second.
But the guy's a great player. He's the best player available. I mean, I would have drafted him too. You got to take him right there. You don't want to take anybody else at number 9.
He averaged 17.8 yards per catch on 92 catches, with over 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns. He had an 83-yard punt return touchdown. He had a 14-yard rushing touchdown. He was a team captain.
Yep.
I mean, this guy plays the X. He is a big-bodied receiver who apparently is a 10 out of 10 character guy. When he got to Washington, he looked up all of the Washington receiving yardage records, broke most of them, set that as a goal when he got on campus. Tough as hell, broke a rib and punctured a lung, recovering an onside kick. Didn't leave the game. This dude is a baller. He wants to be Devontae Adams. That's the guy that he studies for his footwork and his ability to get open. He thinks that he's the best receiver in a class that has Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. There is nothing not to like about the prospect that is Rome Odunze.
He's complete.
Yep,
He's complete.
Absolutely. Michael Irvin.
It's a great name, Coach, and you coached with him. You saw it. I mean, Michael was big and could fight through some contact. Michael was fast enough, right? And on this one, I was reading Odunze had 28 contested catch opportunities. He caught 21 of them, which is an incredibly high number. So
and you know,
he's strong.
Yeah, Speaks. And you know what else, Danny? You always have to look at these skill guys. They run all these 4.3s and 4.4s and 4.2s. But what do they run when they put the pads on? And we used to say that about Michael all the time. Michael might be 4.55, but when Michael puts shoulder pads and helmets on and pants and all the gear, he runs 4.55. And that's what separates, in my opinion, the skill guys. And this guy he carries his pads, as we used to say, and that's a big deal. Some of these little scat guys can run fast, in their underwear, but you go out there and put shoulder pads on them, and all of a sudden they're a different guy.
Coach, I got a question for you. I'm going to bring it back to special teams. You talked about the 83-yard punt return. He's only had 3 in his career, but being the 9th pick, would you allow him to maybe earn the punt return job? Boy. If he's that special of a player? I'm sorry to put it that way, but I think the more time you can get the ball in a player's hands, it's that special.
All I would say is it wouldn't take him long to win the job.
Yeah, right.
With what
but would you be willing to do that? Or would you say, no, you are a wide receiver, I don't want you doing that, take that extra hit?
I would have him working back there. I would try to find somebody else to do it, but he would be out there early every day catching punts and being part of it and coming to special teams meetings and be a part of the plan.
Sure. Well, regardless of what anybody thought or wanted, and Pat, I know you and I were both of the mind that it was totally cool to trade down, and I was cool to trade down even if Rome was there. But there's no way to not be excited about this because of who he is as a person, what we've heard about him, and we'll hear some of the stuff that we've heard from great guests over the past couple months of
People have
position.
to hear what Brock Hewitt had to say.
Oh, my God, I thought Brock Hewitt was amazing talking about Odunze. Brock, who does
we don't give it away.
Pac-12 games, just phenomenal stuff that you'll hear on this show. But it's incredibly exciting to have them prioritize that. And have the room as stacked as it is in wide receiver.
I got to make one point, guys. How about this? So I did a couple shows earlier, and everybody's saying the odds are they're going to take a defensive tackle. Ryan Poles did a great job and you know what I said? It's a joke. They're trying to get somebody to jump up ahead of them to take them. They got 2 good young defensive tackles. Billings played good. This kid's no top 10 pick. The kid out of Texas, he's a good player. Murphy, but please. I mean, but that was...
Yes, Coach, you're right. They prioritized offense over an interior defensive lineman. Thank God.
Well, no.
I don't know. See, Danny, I disagree. I disagree with Danny. They didn't prioritize that. I mean, if there was a great pass rusher there, if there was a Will Anderson there, now you're going to say he's prioritized.
That's the point, right?
If there's an offensive lineman there and that, at least in my opinion, that I thought was the number 9 pick, then they're prioritizing him, or a corner or whoever.
You're saying he's clearly the best player on the board.
Absolutely.
And Coach, all those defensive players, you don't love Dallas Turner.
No, I don't like him.
You don't love Byron Murphy. Yeah, as you're talking about, you don't love Latu.
I love Latu, but you cervical. I mean, is he gonna pass your physical? Mm-hmm. Some teams will pass him, some teams won't. I like Verse, the guy out of Florida State.
Right, but he's not explosive enough to be.
Not the 9th pick. I'd take him 12, 13, 14. I would definitely take him.
So it's interesting. So, Danny, those trade down options, and then you're looking at, the third tackle or the fourth tackle if you trade down, and they don't need the wide receiver, so it ends up logically leading here. You know what I keep thinking about? Remember when Ryan Poles traded for Chase Claypool, and Lord knows it didn't work, but what did he say? You know where I come from.
Yes.
You know where I
Good
come
point.
from. And that's Kansas City. And we knew then that when the time was right, he was going to be a guy who did value offense the way that modern NFL teams and organizations need to value offense.
We have a new quarterback in the NFC North. The Vikings and Jets have swapped picks. Minnesota moved up from 11 to 10 to select J.J. McCarthy from Michigan. So it's Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams, and J.J. McCarthy.
McCarthy, a smart quarterback, good in the pocket, now working with Kevin O'Connor. Kevin O'Connell. That could be an interesting combo in Minnesota.
312-644-6767. Hey, I'm going to give the Bears an A. They've won the draft. They have Caleb Williams and Rome
They had 2
Odunze.
picks in the top 10. They should win the draft. It wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, well, A+, Pat.
Okay, I like it. All right, I like it.
A++.
All right.
A new QB wide receiver tandem for the next 8+ years. QB for hopefully about 20. This is an amazing day for the Bears. We want to hear from you. You will hear Brock Heward on Rome Odunze. It is the Parkins and Spiegel draft special with Wannstedt and Mannelly right